are the investments being injected into the sector, the BPO IT sector? In 2003, 5.4 billion pesos, 8 billion in 2004. The highest was in 2007, reaching 7.17 billion. That is only a one-year figure. 12.4 in 2008, and in 2009, 14.72 billion pesos. You can see that the figures are very substantial. Next slide. Now, what about the telecommunications industry, the telecommunications sector? This is probably a very amazing sector because it took us about 100 years to reach a level of 6 million subscribers in the landline sector. You will all recall, my friends in the Rotary, that in the past it was so difficult to get a landline connection. You had to be a very powerful Rotarian to get a very quick response from the PLDT. So in 2004, it reached 6 million, 6.5 million in 2005, and by 2008, it's only 7.4 million. But look at the mobile subscriber sector, the so-called cell phone sector. In less than 6 years, in less than 10 years, it went up to 32.9 million, 34.8, and as of the latest figure, we are already talking about 68 million cell phone or mobile phone subscribers, about 60% at least of the entire population of the country. That is how big the sector is now. Next slide. What about the internet penetration? Of course, when we speak of internet, we think that the internet is already very visible. But I made a little analysis and I found out that while it is already very significant and very visible, it's still small compared to the other countries. We are only less than 20%, and you compare it with the other countries where they're already reaching almost 100%, like in Korea, in Taiwan, for example, and we are a little behind. We are ahead of China, but we are a little behind countries like Singapore and probably Thailand. But we are still moving up. But there's still a lot of things to do. That is why we need a Department of Information and Communications Technology in order that we can compare with these other countries insofar as internet penetration is concerned. Next slide. Broadband penetration. This is the DSL, the broadband penetration. To us, Manila Rotarians, the broadband is probably part of our daily life already. Our children, our grandchildren are very exposed to this. But we're still very small compared to the other countries. We are not even 5% insofar as broadband penetration is concerned. When we speak of broadband, we're talking of the 1 Mbps, the 2 Mbps broadband capacity. The people in Forest Park are very lucky because I understand that today in Forest Park you already have 10 Mbps. That is almost the speed of light compared with the normal internet. But you can see that we're still very much behind the other countries. That's why we need to do a lot of work. Next slide, please. PC penetration, personal computer penetration. Again, we're very small. The other countries are big. We are higher than some other countries like China. We are a little behind China. We are way behind the Western countries, and that's why we still have to do a lot of work here. Next slide. Now, the Philippine BPO IT industry, in total employees, you can see that how fast we have grown, and in terms of annual revenue, in the last report, the CICT reported to me that we have already reached more than about 7 billion, and we're getting close to about $10 billion in 1 year. That is quite substantial. This has been around for only about 5-6 years, but it has almost overtaken the tourism sector. And when we're speaking of value added here, the value added here is almost 100% because this is manpower intensive. This is not asset or capital intensive, but very manpower intensive. Next slide. Now, this is again a very interesting figure because some people are thinking that if we speak of the BPO industry in the country, the first thing that comes to mind are the call centers. But this is not true. The call centers comprise a little over 60%, but there are other segments that are already fast contributing. The more high-tech segments of the BPO services, like for example, back office is about 19%. We have the animation, for example, engineering, transcription. And I think some of you are aware that insofar as animation is concerned, this has a very high potential because many of the animated movies that we are watching, many of them, at least 50% of them, I understand, are already made here in the Philippines. We are one of the leaders insofar as animated movies are concerned. The more famous Nemo movie, practically all of that is made here in the Philippines. It was reported to me. Next slide, please. Now, how big is the Philippines compared to the world? This is where the figures are really very impressive. Of course, the leader is India with 37%. Next is Canada. But a good number 3 is the Philippines with a share of 15% of the world market and growing at a very fast rate. We are ahead of countries like Ireland, Mexico, China, and the other countries. 15%, my colleagues here in the Rotary Club of Manila, is quite a sizable sector, a sizable share, especially considering that this is growing at a very rapid rate. So, in my considered opinion, this is going to be one big winner, and probably in about 5 to 6 years, the BPO sector is going to overtake already the OFW sector, which is generating a revenue or a remittance level of about 18 billion a year. Next slide. Now, Facebook. I'm sure many of you are familiar with what Facebook is. If you're not, you ask your children, you ask your grandchildren. Practically all of them are Facebookers. Maybe like Rudy here. We are Facebook-based. I don't know about Attorney Jesse Santos. If he knows what Facebook is. Maybe he knows what Face is. He knows what book is, but not Facebook. Facebook. There are more than 500 million Facebook users all over the world. Practically about 8% of humanity is already part of the Facebook industry. And the Philippines is one of the leaders with at least 15 million. Number 7 in the world, 15 million. Actually, it could be 16 million, it could be 17 million, and growing at a very rapid rate. I'm going to show you later. Next slide. You can see